The check trembled between my fingers. $250. Thin paper. Thinner apology. Across the table, my grandfather's smile stalled, just for a fraction of a second, like a man realizing the floor beneath him was never solid. The house smelled like roasted turkey and old money. Laughter pressed in from the other room, muffled, ignorant. He leaned closer, his voice low. Careful. The gift I wired you was $500,000, he said. A pause. Where did it go? I didn't answer right away. I watched the way his eyes searched my face, not for gratitude, but for damage, for confirmation that something had gone wrong. His hand tightened around his coffee mug, knuckles pale. This wasn't confusion. This was dread. My heartbeat stayed even. Years of practice had taught me how to keep my face neutral when something inside me cracked open. $500,000. The number echoed, slow and heavy, sinking deeper with every breath. I thought of the emails I never questioned, the phone calls filtered for my convenience, the accounts I'd never seen but was told existed. I folded the check once, then again. I don't know, I said. And in that moment, watching his smile finally collapse, I understood something essential. Someone had been very careful to make sure I never asked that question. Thanksgiving ended quietly, too quietly. On the drive home, memories rearranged themselves with surgical precision. The way my mother insisted on handling the paperwork, the way my father redirected every financial conversation into jokes about responsibility, the accounts that were always in transition, the trust that was always being optimized. I'd believed them because believing was easier than seeing, because betrayal wears familiar faces. I replayed the past year in fragments, a missed statement here, a delayed transfer there. Nothing dramatic, just a long, gentle erosion of truth, the kind that leaves you standing on air before you realize there's no ground left. That night, I opened my laptop. I didn't panic. Panic wastes time. I searched old emails, bank confirmations, wire receipts forwarded months late. The numbers didn't align. They never had. I'd just never forced them to. There was a gap, a deliberate one, and the shape of it pointed inward, toward home, toward the people who raised me to trust without verifying. I closed the laptop and sat in the dark, listening to the refrigerator hum like a witness that refused to speak. If I was wrong, I needed proof. If I was right, I needed silence. I moved carefully. No accusations, no sudden questions. I called the bank myself, asked for historical wire confirmations, played the role they expected, confused, grateful, uninformed. The representative hesitated, then complied. Paper trails are honest. People aren't. The documents arrived in stages, each one peeling back another layer. The money had arrived, every dollar, on time. Then it moved, not to me, to an intermediary account I'd never authorized, one managed by a family trust, one with 2 familiar names on it. I visited my parents the following weekend, smiled, ate dinner, listened. They spoke easily about vacations they couldn't afford before, renovations that appeared overnight, a lifestyle that suddenly made sense in a way it never had. Inside, something cold took shape. This wasn't desperation. This was entitlement. I waited, let them believe the lie was intact, let them get comfortable inside it. Every con collapses under its own confidence. I scheduled a meeting with a forensic accountant. I didn't need revenge. I needed certainty. The report was clean, brutal, precise. Dates, amounts, signatures. My parents had drained the account methodically, reframed the theft as stewardship, told themselves it was temporary, necessary, earned. I invited them to coffee, public ground, neutral ground. They smiled when they saw me, relaxed, safe. I slid the report across the table without a word. My mother skimmed the first page, then stopped. Her breath hitched. My father leaned in, color draining from his face as the numbers spoke for themselves. Silence thickened. Finally, my father whispered, "You weren't supposed to see this." I nodded. "I know." Their explanations came fast, too fast. Love, sacrifice, intentions, all the usual disguises betrayal wears when it's cornered. I didn't interrupt. I didn't need to. I spoke to Grandpa, I said calmly. That did it. My mother's composure shattered. My father went still, calculating, always calculating. "He's asking questions now," I continued. "Real ones." They begged then, not loudly, desperately. They offered repayment plans, partial truths, emotional debts they thought I still owed. I stood. "You took my future," I said, "and you taught me exactly who you are." I left the report on the table, let it sit between them like a body. By the time Grandpa's lawyers called, I was already gone. I didn't feel anger afterwards, just clarity. Some betrayals don't hurt because of what they take, but because of what they reveal. The illusion I'd lived inside collapsed, and in its place stood something cleaner, sharper. I rebuilt without them. Different money, different rules. Sometimes I think about that check. $250, a test disguised as a gift. It told me everything I needed to know, and I never cashed it.